Hello guys, my name is Nick and you are watching The Sports Entertainer. Make sure you have subscribed to our channel with post notifications turned on so that you never miss out on one of our daily WWE videos. Well guys, there's no question that fans have been complaining for years on end that the WWE was heading in a downward spiral trend, not only in regards to the overall viewership and ratings of Raw and SmackDown Live, but the WWE's product itself, which has been continuously becoming less creative and interesting with time, to the point where things are quite honestly so uninteresting or monumental that fans could go weeks without watching Raw or SmackDown Live and then tune in one week and have essentially missed nothing of importance, besides the same old matches and segments. As more and more fans and wrestlers alike are complaining about the WWE in general, there's apparently been a lot of tension backstage between Vince McMahon and other high-ranking executives, because according to one source, many people in powerful positions behind the scenes in WWE are not fond whatsoever of the way Vince McMahon is currently running the company's flagship shows. And if you hadn't known, with the extremely poor television ratings the WWE have been faced with over the past couple of weeks, the television industry as a whole has been under the belief that the WWE is cooling off due to the horrendous viewership as of late. And this comes right around the time that AEW is in the process of finalizing their television deal. Truly perfect timing. As this video's title suggests, there are now new reports which are also based off of information that has been gathered over the past year that has led many within the wrestling industry to believe that with all that has been happening lately in the WWE when it comes to terrible ratings, among other issues related to the company, Vince McMahon is considering handing over most of the reins of WWE to his son-in-law Triple H, mainly from a creative standpoint for Raw and SmackDown Live in the very near future. We have been told that Vince has been a fan of Hunter's work in NXT, as well as his partial influences on some aspects related to the main roster shows lately, and he believes that Triple H could likely be able to shift the WWE's fate when it comes to Raw and SmackDown Live's viewership problems with Hunter's creative influence. Although many fans had been speculating for a long time, especially over much of 2018 and 2019, that Vince McMahon could simply be going senile, namely due to McMahon's often terrible creative decisions for the main roster shows, and inside sources noted that Vince McMahon simply lacks a passion for professional wrestling these days, hence the lazily booked shows for a number of reasons, namely because of other big projects on his mind, nor does Vince apparently have an interest in his legacy only being about the WWE. And if we look back on some news from just over 1 year ago, which summed up the fact that Vince was looking to get out of only being in the wrestling business. Last year, Vince had announced via ESPN that he was bringing back the XFL Football League, which was a business idea that Vince had, which had previously flopped in the early 2000s, and it is set to be relaunched next year in 2020. And as some of you guys might expect, Vince McMahon is reportedly going to be spending much of his time working on making the XFL a success story this time around. And again, this stems from the fact that McMahon doesn't only want to be known as being a part of wrestling. As some of you guys may be aware, back in late March, Vince ended up selling hundreds of millions of dollars worth of WWE stock to fund his upcoming XFL relaunch in 2020, $272 million to be precise. And while Vince McMahon probably will never be fully done and gone from the WWE until the day he's swept away from a farm in Kansas to the magical land of Oz, with the added pressure of All Elite Wrestling being legitimate competition compounded by a number of other issues related to the WWE, mainly the company's upcoming SmackDown television partner Fox Sports, which is expecting a lot from the WWE, McMahon apparently feels as though he has too much on his plate, along with a lack of enthusiasm for wrestling in general, and Vince is allegedly demanding that Triple H steps up and essentially takes the reins of the main roster, as well as continuing his work down in NXT. In all honesty, if these rumors prove to be accurate, Vince McMahon is likely making a smart call by giving Triple H the control of Raw and SmackDown Live creative-wise, because if things kept heading in the direction they have been lately, the WWE would be in an absolutely terrible position, especially considering the new deal with Fox Sports, worth an estimated $1 billion over the next 5 years, would be in jeopardy. Even though this is simply a rumor at this point, it's still incredibly surprising to think that Vince would be willing to give up some of his power in WWE, which he has held on to so tightly for decades on end, for the greater good of the wrestling business in general. And while it's mainly because of his new project, the XFL, which will require most of his time in 2020, and not so much for the fans' sake, it's good news all around. Well guys, what do you think about Vince McMahon possibly resorting to giving more power backstage in WWE for Raw and SmackDown Live to Triple H? Do you firstly believe that these rumors are true? And would the shows be better off or any different under Hunter's full influence? And what are your thoughts on Vince revealing that he's somewhat burnt out when it comes to the wrestling business? Make sure you sound off in the comment section down below and do give us your thoughts and opinions on the matter. Thanks for watching The Sports Entertainer. Make sure you leave a like and comment, and also be sure that you hit that subscribe button for all of our daily WWE videos.